On September 7, 2017, death hovered over Dodoma, Tanzania's administrative capital, casting long shadows across the parliamentary residences in Area D. Tundu Lissu, then a 49-year-old lawyer, anti-corruption activist, and member of parliament for Singida East representing the opposition Chadema party, had just returned from a parliamentary session break. As the chief whip of Chadema and a vocal critic of President John Magufuli's administration, Lissu had spent much of that year in the crosshairs of authorities. He had been arrested 6 times in 2017 alone on charges ranging from sedition to insulting the president, often for exposing alleged government corruption, including the impounding of a state-owned plane in Canada over unpaid debts. Tundu Lissu climbed into his car in the parking lot of his residence, a vehicle that had carried him through countless rallies and court battles. Unbeknownst to him, unknown assailants lay in wait. As the engine turned over, gunfire erupted. Bullets tore through the air, striking Tundu Lissu 16 times, shattering his legs, waist, arms, and stomach. The attack lasted mere seconds but left his body riddled with wounds, one bullet lodging permanently inside him. Blood pooled on the seat as he slumped forward, the vehicle lurching to a halt. Parliamentary guards rushed to the scene, finding Tundu Lissu barely conscious amid the chaos. The assault sent shockwaves through Tanzania and beyond. Chadema officials immediately pointed to political motivation, citing Tundu Lissu's relentless exposés, such as the list of shame document he helped prepare, which implicated high-ranking officials in the plundering of public funds. International human rights groups, including Amnesty International, condemned the attack as a blatant attempt to silence dissent. Tundu Lissu was rushed to a hospital in Dodoma, but his condition deteriorated rapidly. Within hours, he was airlifted to Nairobi Hospital in Kenya for emergency surgery. There, doctors worked through the night to stabilize him, extracting fragments and stemming the internal bleeding from nearly every major limb. For 4 months, Lissu lay in a Nairobi ward, undergoing multiple operations amid tubes and monitors. His wife, Alicia Magabe, a fellow human rights lawyer, stood vigil by his bedside. Their 2 young sons, then in high school in the United States, kept at a distance by the family's fears for their safety. Magabe publicly demanded answers. "I want to know who wanted my husband dead and why." Tundu Lissu's survival became a symbol of defiance, but the pain was unrelenting. He later recounted how the bullets had ripped apart his body, requiring almost 20 surgeries in total to restore basic mobility. Walking would forever come with a slight limp, a constant reminder of the violence inflicted on a man who had dared to challenge the ruling Chama Cha Mapinduzi (CCM) party's grip. As investigations stalled, with no arrests despite evidence pointing to state-linked actors, Tundu Lissu was flown to Belgium in January 2018 for specialized rehabilitation. There, in exile, he rebuilt his strength, channeling his recovery into advocacy from afar. Phone data from his mobile, secretly tracked and shared with authorities by telecom firm Tigo in the weeks before the attack, later surfaced in a 2024 UK tribunal, suggesting government complicity. Yet in those early months of healing, Tundu Lissu's focus remained on Tanzania. He broadcast messages from his hospital bed, urging citizens not to forget the assault's roots in a shrinking democratic space under Magufuli, where opposition rallies were banned and media censored. By mid-2018, Lissu had transformed his near-death experience into fuel for his cause. From Belgium, he coordinated Chadema's resistance, exposing ongoing abductions and arrests of activists. His voice, weakened but unbroken, echoed through YouTube streams and smuggled interviews, inspiring a generation weary of one-party dominance. The assassination attempt had not silenced him. It had amplified his resolve. As 2020 approached, with general elections on the horizon, Lissu prepared for a daring return. He had contested the 2015 vote as a parliamentary candidate, winning decisively, but now eyed the presidency. On July 27, 2020, after 3 years in exile, he touched down in Dar es Salaam, greeted by thousands of cheering supporters waving Chadema flags. The crowd's chants, "Tundu, Tundu," drowned out the police sirens trailing his convoy. Lissu's 2020 campaign was a whirlwind of defiance. He crisscrossed the country, railing against Magufuli's authoritarianism. The disappearances of critics, the shutdown of independent media, the blanket ban on political gatherings. At rallies, he walked with a cane, his limp a badge of survival, drawing parallels to Tanzania's struggle for independence. "They shot me 16 times, but they couldn't kill the idea of freedom," he told packed stadiums. Chadema positioned him as the anti-Magufuli, promising constitutional reforms, an end to corruption, and multi-party democracy. But the odds were stacked. Election officials summoned him before an ethics committee for alleging vote-rigging collusion. On October 28, 2020, Magufuli was declared the winner with 84.4% of the vote. Tundu Lissu received 13%. Chadema rejected the results as fraudulent, citing ballot stuffing and opposition harassment. In the election's aftermath, death threats flooded in. Lissu sought refuge in the German ambassador's residence before fleeing once more to Belgium. Magufuli died in March 2021, his death shrouded in secrecy amid COVID-19 denialism. Vice President Samia Suluhu Hassan assumed power, initially signaling openness by meeting Tundu Lissu in Brussels in early 2022 and lifting the rally ban in 2023. These glimmers prompted Lissu's second return on January 25, 2023, after a few years' absence abroad. Landing at Julius Nyerere International Airport in Dar es Salaam, he was mobbed by supporters chanting for a new constitution. "We cannot endlessly live in exile," he declared in a live-streamed speech. For months, he toured the country, pushing for electoral reforms and youth engagement, his family finally reuniting on Tanzanian soil. But hope faded as Samia Hassan's administration hardened. By 2024, arrests resumed. Lissu was detained in August and September on minor charges. As the 2025 elections loomed, his calls for a no reforms, no election campaign, demanding an independent electoral commission and fair candidate rules, drew the regime's ire. On April 9, 2025, during a peaceful rally in Mbinga, southwest Tanzania, police tear-gassed the crowd and seized Tundu Lissu, transferred overnight to Dar es Salaam, over 1,000 kilometers away. He faced the full weight of state machinery. The dim fluorescent lights of Kisutu Magistrates Court in Dar es Salaam flickered as Tundu Lissu stood in the dock on April 10, 2025. Handcuffed and flanked by armed officers, the 57-year-old opposition leader faced charges of treason, a capital offense carrying the death penalty, and 3 counts of publishing false information under cybercrime laws. The accusations stemmed from a YouTube video and press conference where Lissu had accused police of electoral malpractices in the November 2024 local elections, ordered by President Samia Suluhu Hassan herself. "We are going to spoil this election. We are going to really disrupt. We will inspire rebellion. That is the way to get change." Prosecutors quoted him as saying, twisting his words on the no reforms, no election campaign into incitement. Tundu Lissu, representing himself after his lawyers were harassed, met the charges with steely resolve. "The treason case is a path to liberation," he told the court, his voice steady despite the fresh scars of political exile. Denied bail, treason offers no such option. He was remanded to Ukanga prison, a sprawling facility known for its overcrowding and harsh conditions. Over 200 days would pass there, marked by isolation, inadequate medical care for his 2017 wounds, and what Lissu later described as torture and inhumane treatment, violating the UN's Mandela rules. His cell, shared with common criminals, lacked proper bedding. Meals were meager, and visits from family or lawyers were curtailed. One lodged bullet from the assassination attempt throbbed in the humid confines. Untreated, from prison, smuggled letters became Lissu's lifeline. In one, read aloud by Chadema supporters outside the gates. He appealed to the world, "Raise this loudly. It's a blatant violation of human rights." His wife, Alicia, rallied lawyers and activists, filing petitions that were routinely dismissed. International bodies piled on. The International Commission of Jurists condemned the arrest as malicious, calling on Samia Hassan to honor her 2021 inauguration pledges for democratic progress. Human Rights Watch documented it as part of a pattern. Hundreds of Chadema members arrested ahead of 2024 locals, where the CCM won 98% of seats amid barred candidates and social media blackouts. The trial dragged into May 2025, with virtual hearings boycotted by Tundu Lissu's team for lacking transparency. Kenyan activists, including former Justice Minister Martha Karua, were denied entry at the border, prompting Suluhu Hassan's warning against meddling. On May 19th, as Lissu appeared in person for the first time since April, the court rejected key digital evidence, recordings of his speeches, disrupting the prosecution. Yet the adjournment to June only prolonged his detention. Chadema, under interim leadership, refused to sign the 2025 Election Code of Ethics without reforms, leading the independent National Electoral Commission to disqualify the party entirely on April 12th. Tundu Lissu's presidential bid evaporated. Without Chadema on the ballot, the October 29th vote became a CCM procession. Prison walls could not contain Lissu's influence. Supporters gathered weekly outside Ukanga, their chants piercing the night, "Free Tundu! No reforms, no election." Inside, he mentored fellow inmates on legal rights, turning his cell block into a makeshift classroom. Reports emerged of his health declining, chronic pain from old wounds exacerbated by neglect, but his spirit endured. In a June hearing, as prosecutors sought witness protection, Lissu cross-examined officers, exposing inconsistencies in the raid timeline. "This is not justice. It's a script to bury democracy," he declared. Amnesty International labeled it a campaign of repression, noting abductions like that of Chadema official Humphrey Polepole in October 2025, who vanished after criticizing the regime and was later confirmed dead from torture. By August 2025, as campaigns officially launched without Chadema, Lissu's trial stalled further. The High Court banned live broadcasts, citing security, but smuggled audio of his pleas circulated online. He served 112 days in jail on July 30th, his hearing confirming the case's transfer but no release. Youth activists, inspired by his 2023 returns optimism, organized underground forums, debating his vision for a new constitution. Suluhu Hassan's meetings with him in 2022 had raised hopes, but now, as she touted infrastructure wins, new roads, economic growth, critics saw a facade. Tundu Lissu's letters from prison urged persistence. Bruised and battered, but unbroken, September brought more adjournments. The treason trial resumed sporadically, with witnesses intimidated. On September 15th, police clashed with supporters outside the High Court, tear-gassing crowds demanding his freedom. Tundu Lissu, frail but unbowed, refused virtual appearances, insisting on in-person dignity. By October, over 200 days in, the election loomed. On October 24th, the court pushed proceedings to November 3rd, post-vote, ensuring his absence from the polls. "They fear my voice at the ballot," he told lawyers. Chadema's boycott call gained traction. Voter apathy surged, with turnout projected to be low amid fears of reprisal. As ballots were printed without opposition names, Tundu Lissu's imprisonment encapsulated Tanzania's democratic erosion. From his cell, he penned final pre-election appeals. "The people must rise. The chains are on us all." His defiance, forged in bullets and exile, now tested in iron bars, kept the flame of resistance alive. October 29th, 2025, dawned tense over Tanzania's 70 million souls. Polling stations opened amid a nationwide internet blackout, curfews in key cities, and military patrols. President Samia Suluhu Hassan, seeking her first full term, cast her ballot in Dodoma, promising inclusive growth. But the 36.7 million registered voters faced a hollow choice. Chadema's disqualification left CCM unchallenged. ACT Wazalendo's Luhaga Mpina barred on technicalities. Tundu Lissu, Chadema's chairman and would-be candidate, remained in Ukanga prison, his treason trial adjourned beyond the vote. From his cell, he issued a smuggled statement. "This is no election. It's a coronation. Demand your rights." Protests ignited at dawn in Dar es Salaam, the commercial hub of 7 million. Youth, chanting "The people are tired," marched on polling stations, hurling rocks and setting tires ablaze. Police responded with tear gas and live rounds, killing hundreds. By midday, flames engulfed vehicles and government officials' homes, businesses, and CCM offices. In Arusha, demonstrators torched a petrol station, their signs reading "Free Lissu," "Fraud Election." The unrest spread to Mwanza and Mbeya, where border crowds from Malawi and Kenya joined, ripping down Suluhu Hassan's posters. Zanzibar saw clashes over its disputed two-tier system, and boycotts in separatist areas compounding the chaos. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, pressed on, announcing partial results. Hassan at 96.99% in early counts. Opposition remnants decried shameless fraud, ballot stuffing, ghost voters, pre-marked papers. Chadema's legal director, Gaston Garabindi, fled to exile, alleging AI surveillance rigged tallies. By evening, a nationwide curfew confined students and civil servants indoors. The army deployed, tanks rumbling through Dar es Salaam streets. Gunfire echoed. Viral videos captured officers firing on crowds, bodies crumpling amid smoke. October 30th brought no respite. Protests entered day 2, with hundreds defying orders in Namanga, the Kenya-Tanzania border town. Demonstrators lit bonfires, chanting for Tundu Lissu's release and election annulment. Secret killing mercenaries from Uganda were hired to kill innocent protesters, with a disguised entry through the Zambian-Tanzanian border, killing hundreds. Reports of abductions surfaced, including journalists and priests like Father Camillus Nakata. The UN Human Rights Office tallied 100 dead by October 31st, but opposition sources claimed hundreds, over 700 in some tallies, killed in the crackdown. Atrocities? Amnesty called it, as state TV beamed CCM victories. Lissu, isolated in prison, learned of the flames through lawyer whispers. His October 29th letter, read by supporters, "I appeal to the world, people are dying for democracy." Inmates rioted briefly in solidarity, demanding news access. Outside, Chadema's deputy, John Heche, abducted days earlier, was confirmed tortured but alive. The party's boycott fueled low turnout, under 40% in urban areas. Yet INEC declared Suluhu Hassan the winner on November 1st with over 97%, echoing Magufuli's 2020 landslide. November 1st saw unrest peak. In Dar es Salaam, thousands massed, demanding military intervention for a new constitution and a fresh vote. Tires burned along deserted roads. Roadblocks halted traffic. Samia Suluhu Hassan addressed the nation, urging calm and denying excessive force, but her words rang hollow amid gunfire. Rights groups documented 700+ deaths, thousands injured. Protests spilled into Kenya and Malawi, with youth crossing borders in solidarity. As results were finalized, Chadema Vice Chair Miriam Rupia called for army oversight. Annul this stolen vote, release detainees, rewrite the Constitution. Demonstrators echoed Lissu, no reforms, no legitimacy. The military, loyal to CCM since 1961, quashed rallies but faced defections. Rumors of soldiers refusing orders. On November 3rd, as scheduled, Tundu Lissu's treason trial resumed in the High Court in Dar es Salaam at 9 a.m., following the prosecution's earlier failure to produce witnesses. Curfews linger in major cities like Dar es Salaam, with intermittent internet access restored but spotty in protest hotspots. Protests persisted in pockets across the country, with demonstrators in Mbeya and Tunduma defying security forces, their bonfires and chants symbolizing a nation unbroken by the vote's outcome. From prison, ahead of the hearing, Tundu Lissu conveyed through his legal team a message of endurance. The blood spilled is the seed of change. Tanzania, once a stability beacon, teeters, its people, in the shadow of one man's unyielding fight, demanding the democracy bullets and bars cannot extinguish. The unrest, raw and relentless, marks not an end, but a reckoning for a hardening East African dictator.